All right, hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Carolyn Yarina. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Centricycle, which is a startup organization that believes healthcare should not be stationary and is working to bring portable, simple medical technology to rural India. So before I get started, I want to ask all of you a question on who here thinks they are an entrepreneur? All right, there's a few hands, and I'd like to challenge that assumption in that I think defining if you're an entrepreneur depends on what you define as being an entrepreneur. And what the definition I use is if entrepreneurship is the action of making a difference in the world and solving a problem. And so what I'm going to do is tell you my story, because entrepreneurship is just as varied as the definition is, and different people interpret in different ways. And hopefully you can learn something from the steps I've taken and the lessons I've learned along my journey. So this is how I started. So I grew up on a sheep farm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And back when I was 7 years old, I took my first step in entrepreneurship, which is showing sheep in the county fair. And it was the beginning of my knowledge that entrepreneurship, if you're selling something, you're not just selling a product, you're selling a value. So when I was selling sheep in the county fair, I had to go find people in the community, and I had to get them to come bid on my sheep. And what I was selling was not the sheep that they were going to eat. It was the feel-good aspect of that they were helping out a child in the community and giving them the ability and rewarding their hard work. So that's kind of where I started. And the next step along my journey is after high school, I took a year off and I went to Turkey for a year, did a Rotary Youth Exchange program. Because I think to make big impact in the world, you really have to understand who you are first. And so before I went to Turkey, I wanted to be an eye surgeon. So a very specialized, very specific thing. But I went on a plane, went to Turkey for a year, lived with the host family who didn't speak English, went to a Turkish high school where all my classes were in Turkish, and it really had to challenge a lot of the assumptions about things where even communication was difficult. When I went, I didn't know the language. And over the time, I did not a single math problem. For those of you who don't know, I'm a chemical engineering student. I'm graduating in less than a month from now. And when I was there, I changed my mind. I decided I wanted to be an artist for a while. So I thought I was going to, all the time that I spent was doing paintings and drawings. And then I thought that would be a great way to move forward and make an impact. But it was this one story that I read from a University of Michigan alumni who went to the same high school as I went. And her story is about how she went to Nicaragua for a summer, was a biomedical engineer and fixed equipment. So she fixed an incubator that minutes after she fixed it, it was used on a low birth weight baby, and her work she did was able to save that infant's life. And that's where I decided that when I came to the University of Michigan, I wanted to be an engineer to be able to make very tangible changes in the world and design these types of solutions that could solve some of the world's biggest problems. And when I got here, my next step is really discovering what you love, because I think that's the next step in your self-discovery. And so these two pictures are the reasons I put them up is because the one on the left side is the Road Rack Club. So I joined, it's not really, in my definition, it's an entrepreneurial club because it's people who come together to make a difference and change the world, but it's not entrepreneurial in the common sense. But I think it's important to find the right people who are going to help you along the way and on that journey, and who love similar things that you do. And the picture on the right-hand side is when I did a mountain biking race. And you can't see everyone's faces, but everyone has these really, really intense, kind of serious looks, and I have this giant grin on my face. It's because it's really important in how I live my life is make sure you enjoy what you're doing and let it show. And then the next step is